Hey everybody, welcome back to another LEGO City update. Jordan here. Today we're going to be finishing the campground. I'm going to be re-adding all of the new and improved trees that I built the other day and calling this area complete. I'm really excited about finishing it because it's going to look super good. Yeah, the other day I built 65 custom trees and bushes for the campground, and this morning I actually built 5 more. They're the flat-backed ones with the hinged limbs that are going to go along the back wall. I can't wait to place all of these and potentially make even more than what we already have here. Before we add those trees, I actually have to make a modification to the campground. I'm going to be adding a trail that connects to this bridge and leads up to the LEGO Ideas treehouse. Just recently I did something very similar for the A-frame cabin trailhead. All the minifigures and stuff I've got to get out of the way. Got to grab my brick separator, pop out a bunch of those 4x4 green plates and replace them with 4x4 brown plates. Now I'm using these wedge plates and 1x and 2x and 4x green plate to create sort of a weavy trail. I'm really low on the wedge plates, but using the parts that I do have, I was actually able to make a pretty cool jagged trail. Now I started placing all of the plants and everything around this newly installed trail. I thought I was going to do that before adding trees, but I now realize that it's probably better to place the big trees and then place all of the smaller stuff around those big trees. I also think it's easiest to start at the back, like on the back wall there, the white wall, and then work my way forward. I'm starting on the far right side where the A-frame cabin is, and then making my way left here past the treehouse, and then just sort of moving forward from there. Really, I just come up with a place for a tree, and then I put some leaves around the base of that tree, and then I put the tree back. So it takes a little bit of time because I don't want to just place these trees everywhere. I want to add smaller details like the small leaves that have been falling off the tree. Also bushes, saplings, those custom bushes that we made that you saw earlier in this video, and then all of those different trees. And I just think the more trees and the more parts that you throw at something like this, the better it's going to look. The previous rendition of the campground, I sort of went for the less is more, but now I'm going for more is more. Let's just load this campground full of trees and bushes and everything like that. In fact, when I started placing all of these trees, I soon realized that I needed more of the cylinder trees. It's like the cylinders fed onto the flex tubing with those limb elements and then the leaf elements. Pretty basic tree, but they're nice and small. So I actually built more of the small versions of those just to fill all the little spots around the massive trees, because you can't just have a massive tree and then not have little trees around it. So I actually refrained from using the pre-molded ones, although you'll still see some in here, and I used a lot of the saplings as well, just because I think they look pretty good. Finishing the campground wasn't my only achievement today. Also organized all of the plants in my inventory. So we got all the flowers organized by color, and then more leaf elements and different sort of stems and flowers all together in their own trays, all organized nicely. Different colors of limbs, palm leaves, some older palm leaves at the back there, and then things to build trees. It's going to be really neat when everything is organized like this. Like each part has its own acrylic bin within the drawers in the system. And then all of the backstock's going to go into large Ziploc bags and into those big plastic containers that I bought the other day, and all be identified inside the drawer, indicating if there's more backstock. Really excited that this project was started today as well. The treehouse and the trees that come with the A-frame cabin are a different color. I don't know what I'm going to do about those. I was considering changing them all to green, but I don't know if I want to render them from their original state. I mean, the treehouse, you had the option, so I guess it wouldn't be rendering that from its original state. Maybe I should put the treehouse back to green. And I guess the ones from the A-frame cabin do look sort of random. I don't know what to do there. Maybe I should make them all autumn. Maybe I should change them all to green. Now, I do want to make some other styles of trees. For example, I want to order the parts that are going to allow me to build birch trees, similar to the one that you see in Birch Books or the bookstore modular. It'd be really cool to have a bunch of those. Also, I want to order a bunch of the parts that were used to build the trees from the A-frame cabin and build similar ones to that. Now, I don't have those parts right now, and I know I have a lot of unsorted bulk, but I guarantee if I sorted that unsorted bulk, maybe I would have enough parts to build 2 or 3 of them, but I want to build 20 of them, right? So I'd have to order it no matter what. So sorting the unsorted bulk isn't really going to get me far in that regard. And it's not the end of the world that I already built all of these trees, because reality is I can use these trees elsewhere in the city or in different scenes. So if and when I do replace them with some of the ones that look similar to the ones from the A-frame cabin, it's not the end of the world that we already have these ones here built, and they'd be pretty easy to switch up. So we've got it all finished off. Let's start the tour right here at the A-frame cabin. Got those new trees up against the back wall there. Add some depth to the campground. I might want to add some more of those, and I might want to render those a little bit. Pretty easy to pop any of the stuff out if you want to make renditions to it. All sorts of different trees. How many times have I said trees now? Anyone got a count? There's all sorts of critters all around as well, such as rabbits, birds, skunks. Maybe I got to add some more fish. I don't know. Maybe. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to add some tiles and studs and stuff to the trail, or if I'm just going to leave it as reddish brown. I tried to make it as full as possible. Of course, we can always add more. Here we've got our front entrance. There's an RCMP officer just behind the sign there. This is the module that came attached to the A-frame cabin there with all the colorful leaves. And I just think that that area right there looks really good. Remember that A-frame cabin plate and that pond plate are actually higher than the other ones. It's sort of hard to tell now because it's so full of trees. But with that said, you can still see all of the little stories happening. You know, people cooking fish and chopping wood and about to go over the bridge, or an eagle flying in the air and somebody super scared of a bear, and the seagull on the picnic bench but underneath the tree house there, and then of course the little Harry Potter Easter egg with Groppy just going after Dolores Umbridge there, and an eagle flying by. Lots of birds and ducks and rabbits and skunks. You really gotta keep an eye out for them because they are there. I really like the sign too, Mount Clutchmore and the Lego City that way. It came from a people pack. I actually think I have 2 of those people packs. I don't think all the pieces are integrated. You know what? I actually did remove one of the campers. It was the Toy Story camper. Just sort of looked a little bit corny. I really like this scene right here. This kid just went flying off this jump. It's a little bit crooked there. I have to straighten it out. But he went flying off this jump. He's flying through the air. Use those cylinders and an upright clip element to make him in that action pose. Classically, I just have him holding his bike. Also got some horseback riders there. Somebody leading the charge in front of those little cabins. And behind that, the Winnie the Pooh ideas set. Very awesome. Integrates beautifully into the campground, I think. There is a moose right around there and a family taking a selfie in some birds' nests. And an owl on top of one of those trees as well. And all sorts of campers and tents and picnic benches and food elements and just great stuff. You know what? I love camping. I was a Boy Scout when I was a kid. I went camping once a month. It was incredible. Just such an incredible time, and I can't wait to go camping again in the near future. But this area looks so amazing with so many trees, and the creek that runs through it, it starts way back there and then sort of makes its way meandering through the campground, past Grop, past the treehouse. There's a beaver there. There's logs that have fallen over. Our bridge is going over top of the creek. I love the creek. It just adds a lot of life. And it actually makes its way by the A-frame cabin and to the Ninjago area. And that's actually where it starts, because there's a waterfall that's trickling down the Ninjago mountain and also a pool of water up by that temple there. Looks really good, blends in perfectly with this area where we have that awesome mountain that is not built on platforms. In the past it was built on a platform, but it is all built out of Lego now. And I just love the way that this campground looks now. It's amazing. Like, I am so excited about it. I do plan on changing it up a little bit. There is a mountain or a hill that I plan on making on the far left-hand side, just behind those cabins there and beside this farm. There's 2 48 by 48 plates there and 3 16 by 32 plates that are all going to be mills plated together, and we're going to build a gradual slope leading up to a hill and then a cliff edge going toward the ocean there, and that creek is going to be worked into that as well. And then the campground is going to be sitting in this valley between the hill and the Ninjago mountain. And then just on the side of that, we have the zoo. So that is going to look awesome. I really like the zoo. I'm going to be finishing that Right away, I know I keep saying that, but just other things have taken priority. I don't know why, but they have. And then Ninjago up top on the platform, which probably is going to be expanded soon based on the rumors. So I'm really excited about that as well, because that's going to encourage me to get that raised platform looking good and continue working on some awesome LEGO City stuff. Loving the new and improved campground. Let's take a look at it from afar. So of course, we've got the beach here, which is looking all right. Needs to be readdressed since its move. And then behind that, we've got the campground. Now you saw how big and full it was when we were right there, and it still looks big and full, but from afar, it still looks sort of tiny, doesn't it? That's why I want to add that elevation going up the left side of it and sort of put it in a valley. I think that would look really neat. The big trees and everything don't really take away from what it actually looks like when you're up close. I mean, from the far, it still looks even more impressive because it's not like you can see those little stories and everything from afar anyway. So I think having dense trees there was actually a good call. It didn't really take away from any of the detail at all. I do plan on making some more trees, and I'm actually going to be putting them underneath the raised line right here. I plan on making a wall of those cylinder trees, the smaller ones. They're going to be able to fit under there, the ones with the flex tubing running through the center of it. Similar to these ones here, just shorter. And I also have to upgrade all the trees in the city as well. So here we have the before of the campground, right? You remember that at the beginning of this video. Here's a little before shot. Yeah, looking pretty plain. And here is after. Isn't that immaculate? Night and day, everybody. The campground looking the best it has ever looked in the LEGO City, and I could not be more thrilled. It's one of my favorite spots. Actually, I think it's my favorite spot in the LEGO City right now, especially when you have a look at this whole area here with the zoo and the Ninjago Mountain and also the campground, and I love the way the A-frame is integrated into it. Everybody, thank you so much for coming on by. Remember, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Farewell.